What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing well on this Thursday. Second quarter is ending. This is going to be going on to the third quarter. All the work that we do with this thing is called Ban the Ban. And let me see, soda's a problem. But so it's going to be two articles written. We could take a look at the authors really quickly. Two different authors writing kind of two opposing viewpoints. Okay, so Ban the Ban. It's been mentioned earlier that certain states, Florida being one of them, have banned bans. Like you can't ban any type of food or any type of soda. I think we've also talked about in most classes, there are like some sodas around the world that have been banned but are legal in the United States. I think Mountain Dew was mentioned. You know, we call ourselves the land of the free, home of the brave. So we like to be free. We like to, if we want to kill ourselves with soda, that's our American right. So this is going to be about that ban. You'll hear Michael Bloomberg talked about a few times. He was the mayor of New York City going back at least 5-10 years now. So ban the ban. And I think we're going to read this twice because the vocabulary in this is pretty difficult. So I would like to read this now, not talk too much about it. Just kind of get it in the back of your mind. I've talked about this before. Just kind of let it wash over you. There's a lot to take in. Just hear it. Then on Monday, because I think we'll have a snow day tomorrow. It's like 99% on snow day calculator. Not that they're always accurate, but like 99%. I think we're getting quite a few inches of snow at the absolute best time if you want a snow day. But then we got to make that up in the summer. So I'm not a huge fan of snow days, but tomorrow it's a really good timing because it's for at least for this class. This is when second quarter is ending. We'll start third quarter on Monday. So any of the work that you're missing, I got to put 2 more grades in. Study guide that counts twice, and then 3 cheers for the nanny state. And there will be a lot of time in class to work on that today after this lesson. If it looks like most people don't need that time, then we'll get into a little Frank and Beans. But if not, the rest of the time, you just finish up second quarter grades. All right. I'll come around to everybody. I'm saying the things that I usually say at the end right now. I'm not sure why. Let's kind of get into the article with extremely difficult vocabulary, which, like I said, that's what I was talking about, right? Monday, we'll start working on that. But I want you to just hear the article today. Monday, we'll go over the vocabulary. Tuesday, we'll read it again, and then the Google form will be available. So you can, prove what you know and all that stuff. All right. Obviously, if there's any questions, just put a hand up. But here we go. This is going to be available on Google Classroom. You got the authors right there. We don't need to read about them, really. Maybe a really good teacher would read about the Karen Klein and Sydney Ann Stone, but I'm sure they're very smart. Look at that, Berkeley. That's a good school. So she must be very smart. But look at these words: implemented, mandates, intervene, intentions, dictate, exemption. So those are pretty hard. And then I think there's even like harder ones that I'm going to add to the list so that we have about 12, but not easy stuff. So they're going to give us a little background about like Bloomberg and what was going on in the city about a decade ago, stuff like that. So I do want to read the background. That's probably helpful, right? In 2012, New York City Mayor Bloomberg pushed for a law limiting soft drink sizes as part of his focus on public health. The law won approval on the city's Board of Health, but industry groups claimed it was illegal because it intervened with consumers' choices. A judge ruled against the law because it excluded certain businesses and did not apply to all beverages. Yesterday, we talked about we live in mostly capitalist society. And as many said in class, it's about profit. Like government should kind of back off They should not be involved in too much. And that's why that law was struck down by the judge. There's one thing called monopolies that the government is really cautious about. I'll pause here. Does anybody know what a monopoly is? And if you've played the game Monopoly ever, you might know. I don't know. Maybe if you've never played the game, you know. All right, a monopoly is when one business has control of everything. So I think sort of like with electricity, like the way we get electricity, they sort of have a monopoly. Like you can really only go to one power company, that's Central Maine Power. And I know I've talked about in this class before, like they just jack the price starting this new year. And if they didn't have a monopoly on it, then you could go to other places for a better deal. That's why the government really doesn't want to have monopolies. Sometimes they will go in and break up a company if it becomes too powerful, and then they just can keep charging whatever they want. Like you can't go anywhere else for this need. So monopolies are illegal in this country, and they're actually pretty rare. But early on in the tech world, there were, I don't think it ever happened, but there were like Microsoft. Some people thought that they had a monopoly at one time. There's been talk about Apple for certain apps. You can only get those apps from the App Store, so they can charge pretty much whatever they want. None of those have actually happened, but the government's always looking out for the monopolies happening. All right. So this is not a monopoly, but they thought this was a little bit too, it was not fair to all businesses. All right, let's go. Bigger here. Ban the ban. When Mayor Bloomberg implemented laws banning smoking in bars, parks, and restaurants, that made sense. So totally an opinion. Be aware of that, okay? Whether or not I agreed, I understood the rationale because other people's health would inadvertently be impacted by the smoke. Other people's health. Okay, that's huge right there. When he insisted on calorie counts being posted, I think many of us cringed. But again, it made sense. If you want to know how many calories something is before you indulge, it is now spelled out for you. We'll pause it right here for a second. And I think that happens in Maine as well. When you go to a place like McDonald's or something, right next to the menu, I believe there are calories. So it's not banning anything. It's just letting you know, like they said, so you can make an informed decision. Ooh, that Big Mac, I'm just making a number up here, is 2,000 calories. That's about as much as I need in one day. Maybe I will skip it, or maybe you don't care. But that's your right, I guess, as an American. Bigger here. On days when you feel like being especially naughty, you just don't look and order it anyway. Did I read that right? I don't think I did. On days when you feel like being especially naughty, you just don't look and order it anyway. That's what life is all about, isn't it? Choices, informed decisions. I respect being given information that enables me to make an informed decision. What I do not respect is having my civil liberties stripped away. When you take away the option to order a soda over a certain size, you now have removed my options. I no longer have a choice. That is not what this country is all about. I agree wholeheartedly that obesity is an issue that needs to be addressed. It is one that needs to be addressed with education, compassion, support, not government mandates. If, despite all those efforts, someone chooses to have a sugary drink anyway, that is their choice, and they're right. If you've lost your place right here, we are in the blue. Actually, I'll move it all the way to the top. If they know all the facts and they do it anyways, that is a personal choice. It is not the place of our elected officials to intervene. So this is just all opinion, right? Hopefully we can see that. This is by and large opinion, way more opinion based than the last one we saw. We cannot allow our government to make these kinds of decisions for us. I've said it before and I will say it again. Once you allow the government to make choices on your behalf, it becomes a very slippery slope. We will discuss that in more detail. Slippery slope. Not today, though. I personally feel that it goes against everything this country stands for. We are a country built on freedom. That includes basic freedoms like what you are going to drink while watching a movie and eating what will soon be unbuttered and unsalted popcorn, according to Mayor Bloomberg. Remember the days when New York was a really cool and fun place to live? Me too. Now, a simple thing like going to the movies has even lost its flavor. Ooh, they made a pun right there. I like it. People of New York need to show our mayor that money can't buy him everything. He is going to fight back to get this pushed through. Well, it's our responsibility to fight back too. People might think it is not important because it's just soda, but it is so much more than that. It is about freedom and the freedom to make your own decisions about what to do and what you put into your bodies. Started with soda, and he's already moved on to salt. What's it going to be next? If you're reading this and you are not a New Yorker, don't think you're not going to be affected. You will. Starts here, and it will spread through the nation. And that's what I don't want to discuss it now, but that's the kind of the definition of a slippery slope. I hope you will start to speak up about this issue, or before you know it, it won't be the land of the free and home of the brave anymore. One day, in the not too distant future, all the way at the top there, we are going to wake up in the land of Big Brother. Look at that. There's a little footnote there. You don't need that footnote. You know what Big Brother is based on yesterday, right? With a list of things we can and cannot do, eat, drink, say, and so on. And we'll be wondering how we got there. Well, this is how. All right, so a very impassioned letter about choosing the soda that you want to drink or the amount of soda that you want to drink. The author is saying it starts with this. Before you know it, it's going to be everything. They are going to be controlling our lives, just like in George Orwell's 1984. All right, here's the other side of the coin. So, and this is what happens every time I'm like watching a court case or whatever. When there's one really impassioned speaker, I'm leaning towards that. Like, oh yeah, we don't need this ban. I wonder if your mind will change once you hear the other side of the story, because they make an equally strong argument, I would say. I'm going to be up front. I have always leaned towards the front, like the first article here. Like, adults should be able to make decisions. That's my opinion, though. That's my opinion. Maybe others think no. We're stupid humans. We don't know what's best for us. We don't know moderation. Here we go. This is not too long here. All right. And I will read it without without stopping too much, because we'll read this one more time, okay? The intentions of New York Mayor Michael R. Bloomberg may be laudable, but it's wrong for one man, even an elected official, and even a well-meaning one at that, to dictate to people how big a cup of sugary soda they're allowed. Not that I have a tremendous regard for soda. It's bad for you, especially in large quantities. The evidence against it mounts on a semi-regular basis. But the mayor's initiative goes further than something like a soda tax, which might aim to discourage people from purchasing something by making it cost a bit more, but leaves the decision in their hands. Bloomberg is playing nanny in the worst sort of way by interfering in a basic private transaction involving a perfectly legal substance. In restaurants and other establishments overseen by the city's health inspectors, it would have been illegal to sell a serving of the most sugary drinks, except fruit juice. I always wonder about that exception, considering the sugar calories in apple juice. That's more than 16 ounces. All right, I'm sorry. This article is more about the ban is not good. But one thing they talked about there, I want to highlight. Where is it? The tax. We'll do that. We'll do this the next time we read it. Really quickly though, cigarettes are one of those things. Like, they're not illegal, but the amount of tax on cigarettes is crazy. All right, this is going on a little bit long. How about this? Why don't we, because I want to make sure that we have enough time for everyone to finish if they need to. So this is going on like 15 minutes. And I think I spent too much time the first article explaining things. So how about this? We'll stop here. You'll have the rest of the time in class if you need it, right? But if it looks like people aren't really, like they're done with their essays, they're done with the study guide, and they're done with the 3 cheers for the Nanny State Google form, we'll read a little Franken Beans for the end, okay? All right, out of here.